That wouldn't be good. The other thing that came up was new car and bus procurements, and in the new car procurements, specifically in the R211 car procurement, are 2 test trains of open gangway cars. They are in use in Toronto on the TTC and some places in Europe. I'm not sure we have the exact kind of clientele that those cities have, but I can see open gangway cars being a real boon to salespeople and performers. Real boon. You can to be able to go from one car to the next in an easy way and, you know, panhandle, perform, do the it's showtime routine or what have you. You know, right now with our B division cars that have locked end doors, performers and salespeople have to go out on the platform, and you are given a little piece. If the thing is totally open, you may not get the same amount of piece. I think it will aid circulation in the trains, which is great. By the way, these cars are not articulated. They ride on their own trucks. They just have a small little area, so it's not like standing in an articulated bus where the bend is and everything. Will it stop people from moving? Will this make people move away from the doors who wouldn't otherwise do that? I don't think so. I also asked, from a police point of view, what they thought of the open gangway cars, and there are some possible crime concerns with having the train open from one end to the other, and if there should be a smoke condition where the smoke might be currently confined to one car, it could then spread throughout the other cars.
What is
So there
the
are issues.
advantage of them?
Sorry?
What
The
is
advantage is allowing people to move freely in. If it's crowded, you don't have to go back out of a door and move.
If the air conditioning isn't working in one car.
Right.
Is the end covered over, or is it open?
It's covered. Yeah, for air conditioning and heating reasons, it's covered. I asked that question.
And it can increase capacity.
It can.
It
If
hasn't been designed yet, but it could be designed.
If
with
people
more
would
capacity.
move
Yeah,
along,
people
it
move
would.
along.
If you're going to hog the door, it won't.
They think there's like a 10% increase in capacity.
So we're getting 2 trains of these, and we will see. They are, the R211 are the replacements for the R46s, which are on the A and the R, and some still on the F. So it's not clear where they're all going yet, but that will be interesting. There are a lot of new bus purchases as well, with some really, I think, vast improvements on circulation in these buses. Circulation for wheelchair users, circulation for the most crowded of routes. There's both articulated and non-articulated buses being ordered. This is, I assume all of this is happening. If you get a capital plan approved, it's going to be really hard to do all of this if it isn't. And then there is the issue of the shutdown of the Canarsie tube, which several people are raising and which I have raised a few objections to. I think the Williamsburg, the Bushwick, you know, the Lower East Side, I think all of these communities have to be consulted before it is just willy-nilly decided that there will be a total Canarsie tube shutdown. I think this makes it really tough for certain Brooklyn neighborhoods, unlike the Cranberry and the Rutgers tube, or the 7th Avenue and Lexington, you know, Joralemon and Clark Street tubes. There is nothing that parallels the L line. You can't keep putting on more G and more M service to make up for it. It's just very frequent and extremely crowded. There is now, I hear, talk of a possible shuttle from Bedford Avenue to 8th Avenue, which would mean there wasn't a complete Canarsie tube shutdown. Then there could be just rush hour service and a shutdown at other times, or there could just be a weekend and late night weekend shutdown and just stretch the project out. And I understand that this work has to be done, but there are real economic impacts to a lot of communities. That the L train is an amazing success story. You know, all real estate along the L line is now sky high because of the frequency and the popularity of the L line. So at a minimum, if you did a weekend shutdown, the M service could not end at Essex and Delancey. It would have to go to Midtown. That's pretty obvious. But there are all kinds of service plans being contemplated, and I will keep everybody posted. Good to get everybody's view on whether you think a complete shutdown for 27 months, if that's what it is a better way to, or longer, 36 months is a better way to go than a partial shutdown, but doubling the time.
It's a double.
Well, depending on what you do. I assume you could also run one tube, you could use one tube and run it inbound for 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then run it outbound from 2, just you work on the other tube and then flip it when you're done with that tube. I mean, there's just a host of things you can do, but a complete shutdown to me has to be really thought out. Chris?
Andrew, we have been, I gotta tell you, for the last couple of days, there was supposed to be a meeting today at Borough Hall about the L train. Instead, they moved it to Williamsburg.
When you say they, who are we,
Borough President's office. I'm gonna
with
say-
other elected officials, with MTA, or just amongst themselves?
No, what is?
Debbie can actually answer that, because she was going there.
What I found out was,
That's okay.
there's some kind of alliance of people who live in Williamsburg and Greenpoint, who are meeting at the Bow, that's right near McCarran Park. And they're going to discuss, because they do not want it to be, what you just said, not to be shut down. Borough Hall just found out about it very early this morning.
They didn't know about this possibility?
No,
Until
they
today?
didn't know about those people meeting.
Oh, I see.
No.
They
They
knew
know about
what
this.
you're saying
Oh,
about.
I'm sure they do, it's been in the
Yeah,
news.
and they are talking about, it, but they didn't know about this community meeting, and that's what threw them off.
I got it. Well, I mean, if you're in Greenpoint, you have options. If you're near the J, M, and Z line on Broadway in Williamsburg, you have some options. But if you're along the L line, you're very limited.
True, I just want to go tell you, what the other problem is that the G line, if they ever do that, they have to increase the cars from 4 to 8 minimum. And the one thing that was Greenpoint, everyone goes, oh, you have the buses. When they lift the bridge, I was there, we waited 25 minutes before the bus could move. I took the 62 from Long Island City to go to downtown Brooklyn.
Oh, you're talking about the Pulaski Bridge?
Yep. It's one of those bridges, all those bridges, the McKinnis Bridge, all that, if the lift goes up, you have to sit there. And you sit and sit, it can take 25 minutes or more.
No, it's a lot to think about in this one. The others were easy. Everything, sort of divided at either Borough Hall on the Lex and the 7th, or at J Street on the 6th and 8th Avenue lines. But this is a whole different animal.
But Andrew, there are complaints from all the way from Canarsie, because they're all worried, because this L train to them is like, once the L is not gonna run, they're all gonna have major heart failures. They're like half of the people.
Well, it's gonna run from Canarsie certainly to Myrtle Wyckoff, to give those folks options, and
But they're still concerned because they just want one train, because once you're at Rockaway Parkway Station, you can get a seat on the train, and you don't want to get up because some people want to go all the way to the other end. And
I know the issues. It's a real problem. And then there's another wrinkle, which is there's going to be major track work to replace concrete ties in the Long Island Railroad tunnel between East New York and the Dunton Yard in Jamaica, just outside Jamaica, which means that you don't want that work if it's overnight, or even if it's any time. You don't want that happening at the same time as the L train work, because that reduces one more option.
That
And
kills
that
it.
would be ridiculous. And put more people on a subway line that the lack of the L is gonna put them on. So all of this has to be considered. I'm not gonna prolong this discussion, but that's pretty much else what happened at the board. The chairman was out for medical reasons. I assume he's back for a limited time today, and he's feeling much better now. And so Freddie, Vice Chair Freddie Ferrer ran the meeting. You've probably heard on the news that hoverboards are now banned from all MTA facilities. I can't imagine why you would want to bring them on. The police chief said if you're on one of those, you're out of your mind, but some people are really good at it. But those and skateboards and everything, I mean, it should not be. Oh, this is a major thing. The board approved 2 major changes in access for the 7th Avenue Park Slope, 7th Avenue 9th Street station, whereas you now have this very long mezzanine reminiscent of all the IND mezzanines like along Queens Boulevard, but it's really long, and a great place for a skateboard or a hoverboard or whatever. But the booth is in the middle, and thus people had long walks, either from the 7th or the 8th Avenue entrance to get to a booth. The booth will be moved to the 7th, which is by far the busiest and the commercial end of 7th Avenue Station. And, you know, MVM access and all of the regular access will be, exact fare access will be at the 8th Avenue, but the mezzanine will be closed. It will only be used for internal purposes. So passengers will not be able to walk that long underground 7th to 8th Avenue walkway. Similarly, at Borough Hall on the 4 and 5, one of the free crossovers, approximately in the middle, is going to be closed off. There will be still free crossovers, but there will be many more turnstiles installed on both sides of Jeralaman Street, and that work is going to take place. And so those are two major, there was a public hearing on that, not many people, I think it was something like 7 or 9 speakers. Yeah,
I was there.
you were there.
You asked me to represent TRC. A lot of people were more complaining about the 7th Avenue, not Borough Hall. 'Cause
Right.
a lot of people were glad to see Borough Hall being fixed because where the turnstiles are, technically it's a fire hazard. As people already said, 2 people just said, it's a fire hazard. They're more concerned with 7th Avenue with safety because you get some people like to get pickpocket or get attacked.
And 7th Avenue having accessible entrance, which it will have.
Oh, so it's gonna be accessible
At some point it is, yes.
because.
I don't know exactly what the timetable on that part of it is, but
But at least we know there's something.
they're looking, for sure.
Yeah.
Because that's really important. Stuart,
You were giving us out prior to the community meetings with the board too.
What are you looking
Not
at?
The 7th
Oh,
Avenue,
yeah.
I'm talking about what you're talking about. This is the diagram. I don't believe that there were community complaints, and that's not what's behind this. They need the space, but that aside, there's a problem. Frequently with issues on the F line, and they're rerouting trains to the express track, they want people then to go back and double back for the missed stations. They can certainly achieve what they want to achieve by moving the booth and having people walk, but they're eliminating a set of stairs in the middle. And eliminating that crossover could be problematic for people who have to quickly hop over to the other side and double back. It forces them to walk to the end of
end.
the station.
I think they could probably do what they want to do, just make that area of the crossover accessible.
Correct, and that's not how the plan is drawn, and that's something I'd like
I'll
us
ask.
to suggest.
That's a good question.
Because they, you know,
You could do what
They have
they're
that
attempting to do, but keep that free crossover, right?
they have that at other stations, where
Yeah.
they siphoned off the mezzanine, but kept the center crossover.
Approximately how many, and that's a long station, approximately how many feet do you think you'd have to?
There's only one other stairway in the middle. If not, you'd have to walk to the ends with a double stair.
Yeah, I'm
So-
trying to think.
He's correct, yeah.
An avenue, the length of an avenue, like the 7th to 8th
It's a
Avenue in
long
Brooklyn,
one.
it's yeah, those are long.
It's hilly.
But it's also
Right.
hilly.
Right?
It's 500 feet anyway, because the regular city block is 200 feet. So this is an avenue.
Right, so it may be a suggestion we would want
Good
to have
point.
them consider. The other one makes lots of sense, Borough Hall, it's a
Well,
no-brainer,
I just
but
wanted to
it's
make sure we weren't losing the free crossover at all, because all I saw was the loss of that one, and Peter Cafiero mentioned that there will still be several of them,
Right.
so that's pretty, yeah, all
I
right.
have a question. Have they disabled the sirens on the emergency rooms?
I would say they have. I have yet to hear one go off, and I see people going in the slam gates all the time.
I think they reported that they had done the last of them like 4 months, like 3 or 4 months ago at one of the board meetings.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they said
So
they're
they
taking off the
officially-
last of those sirens.
I told the police representative at the transit committee that fare evaders are very sharp, and they know where the secondary entrances with exact fare only and slam gates are, and they just wait for somebody to go out, and then they rush in the slam gates. I mean, they just know. And of course, since they've arrested some people and found loaded weapons on them for fare evasion, I think we need to, I don't know why they, I think you should have to communicate with somebody to use a slam gate, unless there's an emergency, and then you could just push a button and an alarm would go off and everybody would know, but it's letting a lot of people in now. Anything else on
Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, Andrew, regarding the, I definitely agree with Stuart because, because since they're getting ready to do station reconstruction, And some weekends the F and the G do go express a lot. Cause looking at this map very closely, it doesn't have, and reading everything I'm seeing, I don't see that information. It is possible we can get more details about that station?
What station?
It's 7th Avenue. and
7th Avenue on the F and G is the concern because.
We want to ask if the free crossover that's approximately in the center of the platform can be
Yeah.
maintained. You can still close off the mezzanine and maintain that.
Yeah, but I just wanna say.
Because when you do these GOs and people have to cross over, to have to walk almost the length of an avenue is a bit much.
And especially don't forget, 9th Street is a hill. Goes from Ponce Park all the way
Yeah.
down until it gets to 3rd Avenue.
Yeah.
That's a really deep, and the F train stays its normal length because it doesn't go anywhere, because the ground goes up all the way down
Sure.
and then it goes up in the air almost at
Yep.
Smith at night. So,
Anything else on these issues before we move?
Just the
Yeah.
other,
Bill, do you have something after?
I was wondering if I had something on the Q70 that I wanted to bring up, I think perhaps I should be new business.
Yeah, fine, great.
that L-line tubes closure, that caught me by surprise. How are we not hearing these things and other rail organizations are hearing that? That was in the media before it was ever,
It was, I believe it was leaked.
okay.
It's an option, they haven't made any decisions yet, so it's an option. And even though Post reports it as a fait accompli, it's not.
I don't think it is either.
No.
Anything sure.
I don't think it is, and a couple of reporters asked Vice Chair Ferrer about it, and he said no decisions have been made, and he knows that the proverbial, shit is gonna, so, everybody knows that. So, it's far from,
It just seemed a little unusual.
yeah, no.
It was launched, so.
Do you have something on the Q70?
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt your report before.
I'm done.
I had a call Monday night from the guy who had just arrived in Dallas, Joe Clift, who
Yep.
knows something about these things because he used to be planning director of the Long Island Railroad. You had covered the part about, or his recommendation that the route be converted into SBS or some other prepay system. But he was calling me from Dallas where he had just arrived. The worst part of this trip from Manhattan was getting off the subway and onto the Q70 bus at, which he did, not at Woodside, but at
Jackson Heights.
74th.
Yeah.
He realizes that this is not entirely within our jurisdiction, but one of the most serious problems was having a path cleared from the subway to the bus, having the bus stop cleared, both sidewalk and street side. He thought it would be an excellent thing to have the taxi stand separated from the bus stop and enforced, and he thought that it all should be, the Q70 ought to be promoted more heavily as an airport access route, not just from the town of Manhattan, but from Queens and Brooklyn, and other places that you could.
That message came through loud and clear yesterday.
Did it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So,
Oh, actually Monday, at the Monday.
oh, yeah. But apparently there were a lot of people on the bus he was on, and they had a terrible time getting to and then on Barricade on the,
As far as the clearing of snow, I assume you mean?
yeah, which is not within the
So,
jurisdiction.
depending on how many feet you're talking about from the entrance, it becomes DOT and/or a store owner's responsibility.
Right.
But the steps certainly are transit's.
Absolutely, well, it was the coordination of all this that he was concerned with, and he mentioned, and I don't know where he specifically was talking about, that our new president of transit, at her former gig, had been very successful in establishing some kind of a system to provide such a There's movement in New Jersey someplace. I don't know. But, and we didn't have much time to talk because he had just gotten off an airplane.
One of the board members said, if you arrive at LaGuardia Airport, there is almost no acknowledgement that the MTA even exists as you come out of the terminals. And that was taken to heart, I think, and I think they will be talking to the Port Authority about some much more visible signs for the Q48, for the Q70, for all the buses that serve LaGuardia.
Yeah, thank you, oh, good.
I also brought something up to Ronnie. And Ronnie is great, and Ronnie knows the system really well. And I have been complaining because I have been on the A and F lines on weekends, and I frequently see the wrong destination sign on the R46A trains. This is of particular note because there's an awful lot of tourists with suitcases who need to know which one is going to Kennedy Airport to the air train, and to them, the train says to 207th Street. And so I've been emailing Winton Haversham, giving him car numbers. He came out and he saw it, he says, you're right, it's kind of a little bit of an epidemic, and he's retraining people. But I said to Ronnie, wouldn't it make utter sense to fix this problem, make New York a much more tourist-friendly city, give improved service to the Rockaways? Why don't we make every A train go to the Rockaways and extend the C to Lefferts Boulevard? Wouldn't that make just a hell of a lot of sense? And she said, well, I'll certainly look at that. I said, I know the argument, people in Richmond Hill don't want an all-local train. I said, would it kill them to have to change at 96th Street, Rockaway Boulevard to get on the express? I mean, I just think that makes so much sense. Wouldn't that be a tourist-friendly thing to do? You wouldn't have to guess which A you were on.
You want to write up a little, we could write up a little thing about
I think we should do that.
I wrote such a thing about 15 years ago.
Do you still have it?
I don't know, we still have it,
Can you
George?
share it?
Probably.
It must be
It's
someplace.
not, yeah, I mean,
Find
it's,
it, but I have.
Probably not my computer.
I mean, it's not terribly complex.
It would give the Rockaways.
Did you do it at the TRC? It might be in ours.
Can you imagine every other train would be Far Rockaway or Rockaway Park, so those poor folks wouldn't have a shuttle to have to, I mean, it's just such a rider-friendly thing to do.
Andrew,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
The audible part of it is important too.
Oh, sure.
In Manhattan, knowing which, is this the A train that's gonna get me to the airport or not?
Exactly.
Not just the signage, but the audible announcement.
Well,
It would be great to not have to guess, is the, Sharon, and then,
Another reason to do that is because the development of Rockaway Beach area is really burgeoning, and there are many more passengers.
I think we should make this a, formal proposal to Ronnie.
But, the C train actually many times beats the A into downtown Brooklyn, because many times I get on at Euclid Avenue and, miss the A, so I said, okay, I'm gonna get on the C, and let me tell you something, we bypass that A, and that A shoots down Fulton Street.
I know, the A is more crowded, and the dwell time is longer in stations. I see that on Central Park West too.
So,
Sometimes the
sometimes
local
I'd rather
can beat
take
the
the
express.
C.
But the people, when this was once floated, the folks, in the Lefferts Boulevard area said, I don't want an all-local train.
I understand that.
Yes.
Yeah, I came up with a similar plan to that, that addresses the local issue, where I suggest, I'll send you a copy of the email, that they, during the AM and PM rush hours, or when the Lefferts Boulevard is heavy, sends a few E-trains, or reroute the E-train from World Trade Center to Lefferts Boulevard, provide a different address.
Wow.
So this way you got the E serving Lefferts and the A serving the Rockaways.
Wow. That's kind of like there's a few E's that go to 179th Street in the rush hour, and and there's a few 2s that go to New Lots, in the rush hour. It's like a little known thing, but there's like 2 or 3 of them that do that.
Yeah, Andrew, and Andrew, on the, in the Rockaways right now, as we speak, there is, issues with signals going on also.
Yeah, I know.
It's like it's getting, and the problem is people who want to go to JFK Airport, since Fulton Center now has the J runs on weekends, everybody's in love with the J. They're in love going to the Jamaica end, because the thing is the J runs will drop more, and I said not a lot, just a drop frequently, because people at Fulton Center say, how can I get to the airport? since the AC is running on the F, they said, can I take the J to Jamaica? And guess what? Some people say, this is much better. Because it's like connecting from one Cecil station to another one.
It's much longer, however.
Some people don't even worry about, because once the J's outside,
You know how many stops the J train makes to,
Yes.
I've been on it. I left from here, went over
Yeah.
there.
Carry a book and a bottle of water.
Thank you.
pack a lunch?
Picnic lunch.
Yeah. You can listen to your music on the train.
Sleeping bag.
I can put my headphones on and just sit and go.
The view, the
Sharon?
scenery is actually
This is a
gorgeous.
related signage issue, and that is just at both Flushing Main Street and at the far end now of the new station at wherever it is.
Fulton
The
Artery?
Javits Center Station. Next train, there are arrows, and they're wrong all the time. And you get on the wrong train, and then the one across leaves.
Same problem in 207.
Could someone
Still,
coordinate the arrows of
That's
which?
really interesting and odd.
It's happened
And
to me
still
both places.
Well, they've had those
207
signs for years,
for the A train, exactly the
The
same
ones at
problem.
Flushing,
It's
I
too
mean,
bizarre.
you know, who can tell?
Well, once the 7 gets CBTC, that should not happen, but it shouldn't be happening now either,
Will
so.
we be alive?
Yes, it's happening in 2016. Yeah. All right, we've digressed, but these are great issues to take up. Let's go to old business.
I have all business, and I'll be
Okay.
quick. Thanks, man. In old business, since we have the complaints that we did put in, did we get any new updates about them?
Can you give me the topic?
What are they? Which ones?
Express buses.
I mean, what, you mean,
The
I mean,
action-
some of them they put, you know, monitor, you know, I'm looking for the right word, but, you know, people, undercover
I'm not
riders,
finding it
undercover
either.
riders. No, I'm not. They put undercover riders out on the routes
Oh.
to look at some of the issues that you raised.
Um,
I mean, we haven't got, they usually don't respond necessarily with
Well,
what
that's
they,
good that
with
they're
what they
doing that.
found, but they, you know.
The only thing why I'm asking that is because there's still, it's gotten a little better, but there's still, I'm not talking because of the snowstorm, forget about that. I'm just, before the storm, there is still minor issues that instead you're seeing one certain bus that's supposed to be at a stop at a certain time, instead it comes with being a different bus. And it's very confusing to know which bus is supposed to be at the terminal, and why dispatcher changes it.
Is it on the same route or
Yes.
they? I don't care. If it gets there, I get on.
But if you wait a half an hour and then two
I
buses
waited
come
40
at once.
minutes and yes, and I can't get on it because they don't pull into the curb.
That's true.
And they both pull out and I'm still sitting there waiting, yes.
Well, that's why you're right. You're right, yes.
Okay.
Are we talking about specific routes? Is it a specific depot that's doing this?
Ulmer Park.
All from Ulmer Park?
Ulmer Park buses. I don't see a problem with the Spring Creek ones that come out, the BM 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because they're running fine. And,
Also Fort
and right,
Totten.
Okay.
Hmm?
So if
So
Bill
Fort
gets,
Totten.
if Bill gets,
I mean,
I was seeing it for some other people.
do they know to let you know if there's, with their findings? I mean,
yeah, I mean, you know, we've asked them, and they put out, they put out undercover riders on them. I think we had one report where they found somebody, they did find somebody that was, you know, that was a problem, but I mean, you know, we sometimes get a response, but sometimes don't. Just that the response is that they put out undercover riders on the line.
That's good to know.
all right, should we be checking with John Kiblahan or Darrell about this?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Yes,
I'm still having problems with bus time, with buses disappearing on bus time. And I actually figured out what it is on the M4, they're taking them out of service. So that they're showing on bus time at like 163rd, and they never make it around the corner to 165.
so you see it say not in service?
I had someone, I was complaining to someone, they said, oh yeah, you know, this bus went up, and it went straight up, it went up Broadway, and then turned and went down. So it came up, it made a little loop around on 167th Street, and it just made the loop right around and went downtown.
The key here is, from the time the bus is towed or taken out of service to the time it takes to remove it from bus time, that's the issue. We should find out if that happens immediately. As soon as the driver changes the sign, that changes the transponder and should shut it out of bus time, I think.
Well, okay, it is going, it disappears for bus time while I'm standing on the corner of 165th Street.
So when you look at bus time, is it giving you the next real bus, or is it still,
It's showing me 15 minutes later.
okay, then that's the answer.
I mean, it's disappearing, continual problems still with them passing by, and this was pre-storm. You know,
Yeah,
we have multiple buses
Yeah.
in the same stop. I almost think that you should have one bus stop, one bus in each stop. You'd have no parking left, but it would resolve some of that problem.
Sharon, you wanna?
Also regarding the bus time, this number of the stop, you know, it has a code number. If in the future, those could be made bigger, because the snowbanks were so big that you couldn't see them. I have got binoculars to read.
Also, the number, we've had this discussion before, the number should be at the bottom, not at the top.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
it
don't
gets
know.
confused with the bus number.
Well, no, I'm talking about
On
on
the
the lollipop.
ride.
On the lollipop.
Right,
It's way over my, 34th Street and 8th Avenue going eastbound. They just did a nice new cutout, everything. The thing is so tall. The bus thing is as tall as the bus shelter.
I actually saw the thing where you can put your phone up to it, the guide,
Right.
Yeah.
on a bus shelter, like right,
They do it on-
you know, very low down. I was amazed to
We
see it.
asked for that and they told us we couldn't have it.
Well, there is one on
There was-
Amsterdam Avenue, I'll
okay.
tell you that.
I was gonna
The
take
number's
that later. Andrew and I
important
can-
too.
Yeah, no, it is.
What's that?
At 81st Street.
Near the SQ.
For
they're
the
also
7
in-
and the
Andrew,
11.
can you take a picture of that and send it to us?
I will.
So we can then say this is what we'd like? or-
It's right there.
Andrew, I should have took a picture, but my phone wasn't working. I did see some of them in Brooklyn, the SBS 44. If I do take a picture, I'll, check it out.
Just send it
Good.
to us.
That's what I was gonna do.
Great. Any other old business? Ken?
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. The subject is performers on platforms. I continue to have some difficulties with that on a regular basis. I know that the office sent out a memo to transit police in 2014, asking to follow up on it. I don't know if it's time to that. And then last year, I sent in proposed wording guideline revisions of the guidelines, which were out in 1995. And the guidelines, I think, should talk about the locations, where are good places for them to perform, where are bad places to perform. I know that's examples of that, and that's examples of that too.
Yeah.
And I wonder where we are on that, what we can do more
Andrew?
to advance that.
Yeah. Carol, you want to speak to that?
Well, I can't speak to that, but yesterday I was at Union Square at 5